email that the press conference has been canceled. So if that continues to be the case, Zelenskyy could have come to the U.S. and will leave empty-handed. And the United States, working toward that mineral rights deal, will also be without a deal as well. And I mentioned this situation in Hanoi for a reason, because Trump and Pompeo were behind closed doors negotiating with Kim Jong-un. It was historic. It was the second time they had gotten together, and Trump and Pompeo, by all accounts, were pressing Kim to sign a deal and come to an agreement, and they weren't getting anywhere. So both men said, meeting's over. They got up, they came into a separate room in the hotel, held a press conference, took questions for about 30 minutes, got on the plane and flew home. And that was the end of these negotiations between the United States and North Korea. So we are told right now the press conference will not happen. Could that change? I guess it could, Sandra, right? Any moment, any time.
Not considering what we're hearing that the President Trump, has asked Zelenskyy to leave. We have not seen his departure yet, but that apparently has happened. And I suppose, Karl, you could have gotten that read from the statement. Worth putting that back up on the screen. President Trump, just moments following that fiery exchange in the Oval Office, took to his Truth Social account to talk about what he called a very meaningful meeting at the White House today. Much was learned, he said. It's amazing what comes out through emotion, and I have determined that President Zelenskyy is not ready for peace if America is involved, because he feels our involvement gives him a big advantage in negotiations. I don't want advantage, I want peace. He disrespected the United States of America in its treasured Oval Office. He can come back when he is ready for peace. Here's more, Karl, from that exchange. Our team pulled another soundbite, another really telling moment. Listen. Okay, we're going to pull that together for you in just a second. Karl, let me read you the verbatim, because this is important. He tells Zelenskyy in the Oval Office, you don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Zelenskyy responded, I'm not playing cards, to which the President Trump said, but right now you don't. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III, he says again, and what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country that's backed you far more than a lot of people said they should have. Karl?
Well, look, that may be true, but it would be better if it was expressed in private, because both men have now walked themselves to a rhetorical edge, and it may be difficult to pull back from that edge. And it's important that they do. The best thing that could happen now is that they come to an agreement on this minerals deal and walk away with as nice as comments as they can make. Because the only winner today, if there is no deal and if these two men leave, the only winner is Vladimir Putin, and the result will be more death, more destruction, because it will embolden Putin. So both of these men need to step back for a moment, consider the greater stakes here, get the deal done. They don't need to have a press conference. They can issue a joint statement that both of their teams can work out, and they can be done with this. But if this ends up with no agreement, and the two men go their separate ways, one to return to the battlefront in Ukraine and the other to go to Mar-a-Lago, the only winner will be Vladimir Putin, and this situation in Europe will get worse, and it will embolden Putin, and more importantly, it will embolden the allies of Putin, namely Tehran, Beijing, and Pyongyang, because they will see this as weakness by the West, that the United States cannot lead and that the Ukrainians cannot be brought into a reasonable situation, and it will be bad, really bad.
So here is the latest from the White House official. It says that Zelenskyy is leaving the White House early. Not that he has left yet, just to clarify that from a moment ago. After the contentious meeting that we watched. Brett's interview is still on schedule for 6 o'clock tonight. Brett's interviewed Zelenskyy, I believe, 4 times now, or this might have been the upcoming 4th time this evening. And he tells me that his interview is scheduled to be in English, so without a translator. So just to fill that in on the conversation as to whether or not the language barrier contributed to the contentious moment we just watched.